see if we had the wrong version. I think he has the right version. I think it's just a typo.
Well, let's put it in discussion. It's 10:22. We'll call this special meeting of the ordinance committee to order. We have quorum, Butcher Boyd, committee member Valier, committee member Newton, and committee member Lyons. Also with us, council members Cruz, Burns, Hodges. City Attorney Toms and Marcus from their office. Members of the Charter Commission of Congress. Tonight we are going to go over Chapter 17, Civil Service, with Eric Motto present. He just stepped out. I'll be right back. You want to make a statement, Eric? No?
I'll make it later. I'll make it later on in the presentation.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, it's your show.
Eric, it is your show.
And you're good. There was only one. It was just a typo. Because you should, it should say C, because you don't have a C. It's just C, skipped it, so we're fine. I stopped that.
All right, so I'm good to go?
Yep.
All right, thank you, honorable council members and committee chairs. Appreciate the opportunity to be here today to go over the work that we've done for Chapter 17 of our city charter. The documents that are in front of you today have been worked and crafted as a result of many hours, days, months, honestly, like almost a year of hard work through civic and professional engagement with our Charter Commission, our Civil Service Commission, the employees of the office, the city attorney's office, various members of the city council and public body. During our meetings and public sessions with the Charter Commission, we navigated line by line the liabilities, legal intent, interpretation, and language of Chapter 17. We also reformatted, we added subheaders, and we can go through those. The language presented to you today and throughout this whole charter itself is never going to be perfect, but it's a lot better than what we currently have. Over the years, and my predecessors has also engaged with various council members about how do we mitigate, how do we try to limit the liabilities that we get from this chapter and the application of civil service rules and civil service legislation and regulation for our hiring processes. And again, the document that you have here in front of you today attempts to do that. When you go through the current charter as you see, and specifically Chapter 17, there's just blocks of information and there's just blocks of language that sometimes seemingly doesn't belong in the right place. And when we're navigating different regulations and legislations, we're almost all the time having to reconstruct in intent and interpretation. If you guys want, I could go through what civil service is or what it's not. I think you guys already know what the purpose of civil service is and was when created in the 1930s and beefed up in the 40s. But we're here to ensure that positions of employment are governed by fair, equitable, nonpartisan systems. And we have, again, I think, given a very good document, a very good try to, again, establish something that's readable, something that we can apply, and something that we can limit the liabilities that we've had in the past. One of the big things is really clarification to classified and unclassified service. A lot of us have seen, and this council has seen, a lot of litigation regarding what's classified, what's unclassified, what's requiring of due process, what's not, and having to settle out a lot of legal liabilities at our city attorney's office does an amazing job of representing us. And so we've tried to clarify that in the best way possible and outline explicitly what that is and what that isn't. After the adoption of this chapter, again in the 30s and 40s, a little bit of rewrite in the 70s and 80s, you kind of get government moving in a direction and the charter staying stagnant or constant, where positions have been created through various administrations without charter revision, and you get the confusion of, well, is that position in the unclassified service or in the classified service, where you get a lot of the litigation. And the current charter right now is any here and after created position shall be in the classified service. And I think, especially in previous administrations, the creations of positions like CAO, Chief of Staff, arguably, in the current presentation, the current establishment of our charter, you can argue that they're in the classified service, giving mayoral appointees and political appointees civil service protections that the charter definitely doesn't intend to. And so this current presentation to you cleans that up. It clarifies, again, a lot of issues that we've had regarding non-competitive assessment processes, cleaning up probationary appointments and statuses, returns to work after leaves of absences. But I think, again, as I started off with, I don't think that anything's going to be perfect. I can tell you, and I promise you for sure, that all of our hard work, the hard work of our city attorney's office, our office, the Charter Commission, presents to you today a document that will help meet the needs of our constituencies, meet the needs of our government, and hopefully be able to satisfy some of the requests from this council body that has said, how do we mitigate and limit legal exposure?
Question. How is it that mayor's appointees, you serve at the pleasure of the mayor? The mayor leaves, another mayor can put somebody in. How they got an opportunity to be in unions, and how is it that, you know, I'm talking about just mayor appointees. Over the years, I've been given a lot of latitude as far as raises, as far as certain things, when I don't think that was intended. When you hire somebody, the mayor has the right to hire whoever he wants. But then you, all of a sudden, they're locked in to certain kind of benefits. I don't understand how that happens now. Maybe Mark, who came in when I came in, I don't understand. That's the part that gets me. That it's not like we have workers who are in unions and who have been here a long time. I can understand that. But mayoral appointees who walk away with benefits and monies and those kind of things, I don't understand that part to where like they're locked in. So I hope you address some of that in the charter, because.
Through the chair, let me take a shot at that, only because it's outside of Eric's purview. The issue of joining bargaining units is controlled by labor relations. And you're absolutely right. There are examples over the years where people who are supposedly serving at the pleasure of the mayor, such as, if you look at public facilities, the deputy public facility directors are supposed to, by charter, serve at the pleasure of the director, who serves at the pleasure of the mayor. Over the years, individuals occupying those positions applied for union membership in the supervisors union. Listen, if labor relations doesn't appear or object or oppose those applications, the state is putting them in those unions. What you have to do is object to it and say, no, these are executive or professional level positions that are not appropriate for bargaining units. They should, because when you win the bargaining unit, you now get just cause removal only. So we have, and I'm not singling those positions out, there's a lot of them. But there are positions that are supposed to be senior executive positions that can be replaced. There's a very limited number that's supposed to be there, but any mayor coming in should have his own high-level executive team. People that serve either a term of office, like a 4-year term, like the city attorney does, or serve at the pleasure of the appointing authority. That all goes out the window when you let them join a bargaining unit that says you only have just cause removal rights. But that has nothing to do with
Right,
it.
I understand that, but the point I'm making is that when Bill Finch left office, he took a lot of people in bargaining units.
Well, he's nothing compared to what John Fabrizi.
But I'm just saying,
John Fabrizi left, they put half the city.
but I'm just saying, things like that causes us a problem in the long run. And maybe that's something we should look at while we're looking
Well,
at this.
what Eric's actually, there's two things you have to do. Obviously, we have to ensure, and I think the current Labor Relations Department is aware of this issue and reacts promptly when applications are made. But I think the damage has already been done. What Eric is trying to do is make sure that in looking at the unclassified service, you have, at least for future created positions, we have the ability to, like the CAO's position, the chief of staff, don't exist anywhere in the charter. Eric has worked to compile what he believes, along with our office, are appropriate positions to be designated to be in the unclassified service, so they don't serve permanently, and to have a mechanism where, unlike the current charter, which says all here and after created positions are in the competitive division of the classified service, you want to have the ability, if somehow there's a decision to make a deputy mayor of something someday, it doesn't automatically become a permanent position and deny the executive the ability to exercise his policy. I won't say 90%. There's not too much substantive change in what's been done. Most of it is clarifying what we always believed the old charter to say and intended it to say, where courts have jumped in over the years and said, your language is ambiguous, and therefore we're gonna interpret it a certain way, which disagreed with our interpretation.
Right.
So with that, I'm just saying, you highlighted an important issue, and we're only attempting to address it through expanding the unclassified. We can't throw people out of unions at this juncture.
I understand that, through you, Mr. Chair. I'm just making a point. It's caused the city a lot of problems. You all see it, the cost, that we've allowed to put people in places that never should have ever happened. And I don't know if it was your department or labor relations that should have stepped up, but they're appointed by the mayor, so they're gonna do whatever
Yeah.
the mayor tells them to do. I don't think it was fair.
Just one last piece for clarification, because I singled out the public facilities people. I don't mean to interpret this as saying that the current occupants of any of these positions who got locked in are not highly qualified professionals.
saying that.
And it may be a great thing that they are locked in, but it denies the executive the ability to bring his own team at the highest levels.
All right, Michelle?
I have two questions, but the first question, clarification on this is, one member of the Civil Service Commission shall be an employee of the city of Bridgeport. Why?
So, through the chair, our charter currently as established in 1935 and then again 47 through revision in the 80s always establishes an employee representative. That's not new, that's an existing thing. I think if we're dealing with, if this charter, this chapter is dealing with the employment, terms and conditions of employment for our classified government employees, they have a representative who's elected through a democratic vote to represent the interests of the employees as an employee, very similar to our union presidents and our union executive board members, where union presidents are employees who are elected as president and the representative. So it definitely makes sense to maintain a employee representative vote, as they are at the field level, like all of our other employees. not saying that our other commission members don't have eyes level or view of what's going on day to day, but our other commission members are non-employees, they're non-elected, they're external, and then making decisions on terms and conditions of employment, essentially. But you also get the perspective of the employee member that's here every day, day to day, seeing like what's going on. Very, again, similar to our union presidents and executive board members.
Okay, I just asked the reason why is because the rest of this, all it does is talk about it, you know, and how that person is elected and everything else. It's just that I just see in the charter, everything here is like you have one subject matter and then you have to have 5 paragraphs after that to explain why we're doing the one sentence, or the one person, or the one chapter, or the one situation. And then we're here for hours trying to argue over whether it's right or wrong. So, okay, so now, the other second thing is, the employee member of the Civil Service Commission shall be permitted to hold a paid public office or position. Is that what you were just explaining?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. 2 questions, if I may. Mr. Amato and Attorney Anastasia, I think, just hinted at it, but I'm looking at page 64, which is section 8, 208. B2. So there's a change from 60 to 90 days on when the council can act to, I guess, give the blessing to the creation of a classified position. Is that the idea that Councilman Newton is getting at, that changes are made sort of overnight or post-primary till taking office, that in 90 days would be sufficient for the council to take action?
Yeah, through the chair, so the current 60 is in our charter right now. When we engage with the charter commission, this council, member from this council said 60 days is not enough time for us to consume what you're asking us to approve. So the request was to increase to 90 days to allow the council more time to consume what's being presented, to possibly table if necessary, and navigate, again, substantive changes to terms and conditions of employment and creations of new classifications.
Just through the chair, otherwise it's like when a collective bargaining agreement is submitted to you. If you don't act, as you can see, it becomes effective by default. So this is a measure to preserve the council's input and role.
So it does give us a little more time. Okay.
Attorney, did you want
No, Mark covered.
Second question. So, thank you. Second question, issue, and I don't know how to, this is all reconciled, but I know we had talked somewhat about the city council acting to approve appointees of the mayor, particularly department heads of, I guess we would consider public-facing positions, police, fire, health, parks, that kind of thing. And again, I'm not really remembering if that's really in there, but is that something that would prevent the appointment of the mayor to the various positions that are listed and delineated clearly?
So through the chair, so are you referencing to, is 208, would that impact or impede or assist in?
208.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
think
still, like,
I'm really
referencing
thinking
the-
of like
No, I
207.
I think you're
Okay.
talking about page 60 and 61.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sorry.
So-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the listing there of the positions in unclassified service, what we did was we went through the entirety of the charter and we clarified what the current charter stated in the unclassified service, as it didn't clarify whether they're in the unclassified or classified, and then possibly giving unintended benefits or rights, et cetera. Now, as to what the process is, or the approval process the mayor has for appointing positions in the unclassified service, that would be outside the scope of the of unclassified in of it itself. Now, if there's some sort of ordinance or some sort of, other piece of okay, we are identifying that the CAO is in the unclassified service, fine, there's no civil service kind of unintended benefits rights, but as a council, we feel that all the positions in the unclassified service or the CAO or X, Y, and Z cabinet level need to come to us for something. I think that would be a different section.
Through the chair, just because you mentioned 3 positions, just remember, the police chief and fire chief positions are actually not unclassified. They're in the competitive division of the classified service. The only difference is, unlike every other position, they have a 5-year term. And
Right.
the mayor picks from the top 3 and moves from there. The health director, that's determined by state statute, which gives you a role. The mayor nominates, subject to city legislative body approval. So those 3 positions are not specifically impacted by this. The health director may very well be listed, but it's really covered by state statute, and it is in the unclassified on that
Yeah.
basis. But police chief and fire chief, when you go to their sections, you'll see they're still appointed in the same manner, and it explicitly says they're in the classified service.
And through the chair, just to clarify what, like Mark said, for, as you'll note in 207, and then the 12, the Director of Health and Social Service shall be appointed by the mayor in accordance with the city charter and all applicable state statutes, including general statutes 19A 200. The term of the director shall be governed by the provisions of state law. We also, in listing these unclassified positions, went and referenced our state statute where applicable.
But there are certain instances where it's gonna appear in a different section of the charter, your approval authority. For instance, in the city attorney section, we did add that the city attorney would be appointed by the mayor and approved by the council, but that's in chapter 7, right? So if you wanted to do that for other positions that are controlled by the charter, you'd have to do it in their section.
Yeah,
Right.
I would definitely agree. Most municipalities, New Haven, I know one, Norwalk's another one, that certain appointments by the mayor must be ratified by the council. I'm not saying all of them have to be ratified. We should have that authority too. If we're gonna be an equal branch of government, just like in Washington, the president can appoint, just like in the state legislature, I chaired the executive legislative nominations, all the governor's appointments had to come through the legislature to be approved. As a check and balance. And I think we need to come into the 21st century.
Yeah, through the
and do
chair.
the same thing.
Yeah, through the chair, as you'll note in what's being presented to you today for the listing of unclassified positions, to add that mechanism would have been overstepping for 17, but we left you that possible out. If you look at each and every one, like number 3, the Director of Public Facilities who shall serve at the discretion of the mayor and filled by the provisions of the charter. The Director of Planning and Economic Development who shall serve at the discretion of the mayor and filled by the provisions of this charter. It goes on and on to say, and filled by the provisions of this charter, to give you, if you guys so choose, that
I would rather have it in language, I don't want, if we choose to cherry picking, so
It's
I
what's-
understand.
Yeah, so, and if to do that, you have to go to the provisions of the charter that deal with the appointment and how
Okay.
that works.
Right.
It's gonna be in the individual appointment for that, I mean, the individual chapters for that
Okay, so
department.
it's not,
So
okay.
like, it's for the city attorney, so the same thing here, and I
Right.
think number, what is it, 10,
Yeah.
right? And it shall serve at the, well, let's see. Appointed by the mayor pursuant to the provisions of the charter, and then the provisions of the charter are in chapter 7.
right.
And in chapter 7, we made a change to make the council the approval authority, the final approval authority.
Right. Cause I didn't like the part, if we choose to do it.
Well, no, but you have to, right? You're gonna have to choose to go to that particular
Right.
section and make the change.
And-
Because we haven't done
Right,
that.
Oh,
like
okay.
now,
Exactly.
not
I've submitted to
perpetual.
it. I've fallen on the
So-
sword, but everybody else hasn't.
So I would hope, as we're putting this charter together, that when we get to those sections, it gives us authority to do
Right,
that.
so through the chair,
Okay.
chapter 17 allows you to at least, and again, I won't use the word choose, but at least have the conversation during these engagements to then default to, as what City Attorney's saying, those provisions in those specific chapters. So this gives that to you.
But, through the chair, sorry, it does require some
Right.
affirmative action
Right.
on your part. You have to do something for that to happen.
Right.
Right, so that hasn't been touched.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Right, and we haven't touched it, so if that's your recommendation, you all are gonna have to accomplish that. You all are gonna have to change it, because we haven't changed it. It wasn't on the menu.
I would hope that that is now on the menu.
As Taisha said, these specific sections are more specific than this general section. So even if you put some general language in here, the specific would control, so you'd still have to amend the individual sections.
Right.
So what you need to do, if that's your inclination, you need to decide now which top-level positions you, other than health director, police and fire sergeant, well, police and
Yeah,
fire
be
chief
careful
is
with
out
police and
because
fire.
they're in the competitive
Right.
division. Health director's out by statute. Come up with whatever you think is the list of major executives that you wanna weigh in on. We'll double check and make sure the state statute doesn't preclude that or already allows for it. And then when you get to the sections, you plug them in. But you have to do that now. You can't do that by ordinance, or you can't do it later.
But that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, so
Hopefully we could,
Well, take a look at 60 and select the ones you're
Yeah, this is
interested in.
the time to do it now, so go over that list.
Yeah, so I think Attorney Thomas just said it, I guess we can't, like, later do it by ordinance?
No,
Okay,
You
all
have
right,
to do it now.
that was gonna be one of my follow-ups. And then, secondly, just regarding, what Mark was saying in terms of fire and police and health, the last time a new police chief was chosen, the three qualified candidates who, had gone through the competitive process still came before us as a council to speak. We didn't have a formal vote or anything, but it was a very good public exercise. But would it be possible to do that kind of thing when you do have potential candidates to still get the thumbs up, thumbs down?
I don't believe so, because the charter, at least presently, places that power in the mayor to appoint from amongst the three top qualified competitive candidates that Eric would attest to and send to him. Not by ranking, but just say, these are the top three candidates, and then the mayor can do whatever he wants. But the mayor historically, for every police chief, has had a process where he's invited input from the community, the public, other constituencies such as the prosecutor's office, the public defender's office, police chief, et cetera, the defendant's advocates, the council, the police commission, or the fire commission, as the case may be. It's always been a collaborative process. So you'd probably be trying to fix something that I think isn't already in place. And I can't recall, going back 35 years, since we created this position, that there's ever been, actually 40 years, that there's ever been a police chief or fire chief appointed that didn't have an open process where the mayor solicits community and council and other advice.
Okay, thank you.
I'd sort of suggest, because of the limited time, you concentrate on the ones where right now you don't have a quote-unquote voice and if you, and use that power judiciously. It's not for you to substitute your judgment for that of the chief executive, it's to be a part of the process.
right.
George?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, on that note, as far as appointing the chief, I have to go back to the recent selection of the chief. Yeah, the mayor, out of the three candidates, the mayor elected one, they came to us to do the presentation, we asked our question. But he had made up a decision. I think that should be changed, that we, as the council, the body, the 20 members, should take a roll call vote as to who we want to support. Instead of allowing the mayor to pick, he will make a recommendation, it come to the council, and we should make the decision.
I'll let Eric speak to it, but I just would caution you that unlike these unclassified positions, that is done through a competitive process. And you have to have a single appointing authority. And the charter presently, at least, says that that's the mayor.
But we're talking about coming to the 20th century, we're still stuck in
Listen,
gay times.
I'll let Eric talk to it, I'm not saying it's impossible.
Mr. Chair, the other thing I wanna say is that about, I respect the fact that every time a new mayor comes in, they wanna bring their own people, and that's fine. My thing is that when the mayor leaves, he should take his folks with him. You know, it should take his folks with them. What I mean is that it shouldn't allow them to move into another position and disregard the incoming mayor for making the necessary changes. I think there should be a grace period for them. They wanna come back and work for the city, come back within a year. But allow the new mayor to make his or her decision. I find that pretty troubling that every time, which is good. Every mayor got the right to appoint whoever they want. And they're basically all qualified. But give the new mayor the opportunity to select who he or she would like, you know. And that's my point. Thank you.
I apologize for getting here late, I had my grandbaby, I had to drop her off, but, I sent the email out yesterday to ask every council member to send in their recommendations, so we're not here to the midnight hour on a weekend, I think we all have things to do. I received recommendations from Maria Pereira and George Cruz, that's it. A lot of this stuff we can cover if we send the recommendations, we can forward to the city attorney's office, they can have responses for us, rather than sitting here beating a dead horse over and over again on the same question. To George's point, I think that the administration can make a lot of changes, but you also have to understand that a lot of positions in the city are unionized positions where we sign contracts, we vote on contracts, we have to follow what we sign, we have to follow what we vote on. So a lot of things are impossible. Some staff members, such as, what are they called, Eric, unionized employees, that unaffiliated, those type of individuals can come and go, you know, at any time. And any mayor can make any changes. I think when the administration came in this time around, a lot of people left, and they brought in a lot of new people. You have to balance it out to, not because it's a personal issue, but is that employee a good employer? You're gonna get rid of an employee because the employee was here with the administration and you want a whole new, you can't, things don't work that way. So my recommendation to us, we should all know this ordinance, we should all know the Bible of the city of Bridgeport, and make the right decisions when we make changes to things and not use, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but use personal thoughts on departments or issues to make changes, because it just doesn't work that way. A lot of the city is ran by union positions, and we have to follow what we vote for. This is what we do. So again, going back to when we were in budget season, a lot of people didn't look at the budget book, so they didn't know the budget. They don't go to departments to do their homework. So we come here looking like dummies 101 because we don't know what we're talking about. We need to practice what we need to practice and then make the changes accordingly.
Through the chair, can I just clarify one thing you raised? It's unbelievably confusing because we use the term unclassified and unaffiliated. Technically speaking, the problem we talked about a short while ago, which is the use of unaffiliated employees applying and getting union membership, that ties our hands in terms of unclassified. You, however, can be in the classified service, not be a bargaining unit member, and you still have permanency through civil service. You just don't have union membership. You still can only be gotten rid of for just cause. You know, it'd be nice if we had different terms, because unlike a lot of municipalities, we have unaffiliated as well as classified and unclassified. Everybody doesn't understand that. But essentially, I think we're saying the same thing, but you gotta be careful about that terminology. Eric,
Well, you have a law degree, I don't, so thank you.
Well, believe me, you don't get that from a lot, you get that from people like Eric.
Let me just say this, and you all remember this, and maybe we need to address this here too. When Joe Ganim came into office, he wanted to get rid of a lot of people, but he couldn't, so he had to rechange certain titles in order to remove those folks. And when he came in, he wanted to clean house. It was a big issue, because he couldn't just come in and get rid of them. he had to get rid of what we changed, so they couldn't say that that you're coming after me because it's political. He had to restructure in order to get rid of those folk. We need to really, you know, I thought about it when you mentioned it. He had a hard time getting rid of those people because he had to create or make up, or whatever you wanna call it, some kind of new title. in order for
You're
them
talking
to
about
get
when they do a structural reorganization, but,
in. He couldn't get rid of those
well,
folk.
you know, to some extent, the goal of a mayor coming in should be to replace people at the strategic and top advisor executive level. It should not be to come in and gut the workforce and remove people simply because you want to bring your own people in and give them jobs. So there's a fine line between having your own team at the top, like at the federal government. You don't clean up the, well, maybe it's a bad example.
That's a bad example, that's a terrible example.
Through the chair, I mean, like, there's a lot of very fruitful conversations and suggestions that are being had, like we're here. Like you said, Mark, just to kind of touch upon what's being said. Councilmember Cruz, I think like you made the point that when mayors come in, they have their abilities to appoint at their discretion, they should take their team and staff with them. With this and what's being presented to you today, and clarification that those appointments, like whether they go through the council or the mayor or not, they are in the unclassified service and they're not protected by or given unintended civil service protections or benefits, so that would help. The unionization, being affiliated with a union versus not, the council has a standing ordinance right now that requires the Director of Labor Relations prior to negotiations with the collective bargaining contract to present to you, hey, I'm about to go into negotiations with the Bridgeport City Supervisors Association. Is there anything that the council wants me to go in there and bargain for? And if it's using the beginning hypothetical or the point that was made earlier by Attorney Anastasi with Deputy Director of Public Facilities, if the City Council really felt that was something they wanted the Director of Labor Relations to enter into negotiations or any classification that we feel shouldn't be in the in a union, then that's what the council should be presenting when that Director of Labor Relations engages with it.
And if you do that, you would grandfather the occupant.
Correct, and that's what we've typically done.
Take over
Right.
for the next appointment.
Let me say this to you, as a person that sits on contracts. No labor relation person has ever, but before you, I'm talking about, have come to us.
I like came to you, I know I did, I'm not just saying. I got the meeting invite right here.
Let me say this. Jeanette and I tried to set up where you would come in and meet with us. A certain council person went out and blew it up. Okay? It stopped. Okay? Now I'm telling you what I know, not what I read. When you did say you were gonna come, before contracts were being negotiated, what do you all have in mind that you would like to do? And what happened was a council member leaked some stuff that wasn't supposed to be leaked, and it stopped. Didn't meet with us anymore. Now, Jeanette's not here to speak, she can speak for herself. That was the only time I ever remembered where labor relations would sit down with us and go over the contract and say, what do you like and what would the council like to do? It never happened after that.
So through the chair, like just because I have to, right? Because I was the Director of Labor Relations for the first time. So what you're referring to was when that specific council person claimed that our Zoom meetings and Teams meetings, because it was during COVID, with more than 2 council people created a forum for a meeting and under FOI like needed to post it. So what we did was we reduced that to just the chairs, and we sent the emails to the chairs of we are about to go into these negotiations. I remember those emails were then forwarded to the council body as a whole, and I did get feedback back. And then we did have Zoom meetings with not the 3+, but it was 1 or 2 council members. And I remember specifically doing it with LaUna, I remember specifically doing it with Fire, AFSCME, and you yourself made a lot of good substantive points and suggestions. I can't talk about before or after me, but I can tell you for a fact that those were fruitful for me. And I bring that up because, again, even if it's just the email to the Director of Labor Relations saying, in your next negotiations, this is something that the council really has and feels that you should be doing, i.e. a position that should be not in a bargaining unit.
All right, I'll be looking for the Texas.
That's Errol now, it's not me.
And I'm saying, he hasn't done it, so I'm just bringing that to your attention.
Thank you.
You did it, but he didn't. Maybe you need to inform him on that. All right.
Thank you. No, just, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick clarification, I wasn't clear. When I was referring, I really meant to refer to the unaffiliated, people who has no union protection. Those are the ones specifically I was referring to, and I apologize for that.
You're good.
That's all.
All right, are we all caught up? We all on the same page?
No karate today, George?
Softball, that's right. 2 games today.
You gotta be careful. I saw George in action. He's good. I'm not gonna lie.
Take it easy.
I saw him firsthand.
Appreciate that.
All right, Eric, where are we at now? Page.
I wanna get you in that quick.
I know.
60.
Good luck, George.
Your section.
Well, so far, council people that are here, everyone's comfortable with what we're going over so far?
Yes.
No one wants to add anything, certain section?
This chapter.
Yeah. All right, so make sure. All right, Eric, just.
Yeah, and through the chair, I mean, during the engagement with our charter commission, there were various commentaries in the audience from council members, and we took those into considerations and we made changes and edits at the request of the council through the charter commission. But just to go through it relatively quickly, in summary, I think we've already covered at length the unclassified classified service, the ability now to create positions in the classified unclassified service, to the creation of positions in the classified service, or we'll just say civil service positions versus not. That's already been there, but for the not civil service positions, which are unclassified, we've allowed through the executive authority, the mayor, to be able to request creation of a position that's not civil service, quote unquote, with approval of the commission and the city council. So checks and balances there. As government evolves, this document now allows us to meet the modern day and times when government is evolving. We reformatted really and clarified powers and duties of the Civil Service Commission. The Charter Commission said, hey, it doesn't read linear. You have your how to create a civil service commission, then how to give a test, then how to do probation, and then 5 sections down, what's the powers and duties of the Civil Service Commission. So we took that from the Charter Commission engagements and made the document linear when you read it. So powers, duties, functions, and then what we do with those powers, duties, and functions. Reemployment, there was a lot of conversation about that. That's in your sections 211. And all the subsections there about what happens when an employee leaves city service. And again, civil service classified, we're not talking about unaffiliated, or we're not talking about unclassified or not civil service here. Where if someone has withdrawn their resignation, whether or not the previous employee had to be in good standing when they left and upon when they returned, there's a lot of conversation of, okay, if I resign and I want to withdraw my resignation within the time period of 60 days, I may have left in good standing, but during those 60 days, I went and did a bunch of stuff that made me ineligible for reappointment. We addressed that. We modified, or again, just reformatted military, the numbers there. We clarified terminologies of tests for employment, promotional exams, filling up positions in the competitive tested service, and filling up positions in the non-competitive division, specifically in our competitive service, where we have a lot, and we've had a lot of litigation in the past of this 120 day or 180 day rule, and what triggers an examination. And it's not just the vacancy, but it's also the department head saying, I want to fill that vacancy. And so we've had the Walker Rule in the 70s, a big litigation. We continue to have it, where if a department head knows I'm about to go present to city council in April my budget and I'm eliminating 5 captains or whatever it is, why should this charter require me to give a test when the council or the department head saying I don't need that anymore? And so this clarifies that. So again, it's a cost saving measure as well. Appointments in the competitive division, we made some changes there and clarifications of the ability to waive appointments. Right now, people can be, or a prospective candidate on an examination list, when we get to their name, they can waive appointment. There was some clarification needed of how many times can you waive. Can you just continue to take tests and just waive and waive and waive, and we have to hold and stay? So we cleaned up, clarified that. We obviously changed all pronouns, his, her, to their. Veteran eligibility, a lot of that in our charter kind of predates federal and state requirements for veterans status exams. We defaulted that to state statute and federal regulations. Other than that, as you've seen, we just did a lot of cleanup and reformatting, so when someone who's not an attorney, someone who's not a civil service staff member is navigating this charter, they can just keyword search and find it.
Just a question. We have what's called, I use fire and police, we have a list of people that stay on for a period of time, as you know. Is there any way we could increase the time frame on when we throw lists out and keep lists? Because right now, after a certain period of time, that list expires, you gotta go back out again and redo it. Would it make sense to at least expand? I don't know, I'm just throwing it out. Because we throw them out, then you gotta go back through the process to rehire and go through it, and then we lose those people. So is there any way, Mark, that you could, I don't know.
Eric can answer that better than I, but I think the short answer is yes, but you have to balance the benefit against the result.
Okay.
The longer the list exists, the more stale it becomes, and quite frankly, the further down the list you go. So sometimes you're, by extending it, you may be hiring people who passed, but they're not any longer the most qualified. And other people become eligible in the meantime, and it cuts out those people who now would have the time and grace.
So through the chair, right now it's a 2-year period of the life of the list.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, 2 years, which is a long time. And so we actually gave this to our examination and our psychometric consultants that we work with too. One of the things that I identified in this rewrite here, that if you do increase the life of these lists, it would save us money and it would get us through the whole list. But at the same time too, the job analysis mechanism that you use to create the content of the examination, where the knowledge, skills, and abilities and the appropriate mechanism of selection, or saying that this mode of selecting someone by highlighting and targeting these criterion are good right now, but 3 years, 4 years, it may not be the same. So we do a job analysis, so deep dive of the position through job analysis questionnaire, knowledge, skills, and ability to then build content that would give us a higher probability of someone succeeding in the exam that meets these, that has a higher probability of success rate in the job through this psychometric
Yeah.
selection process,
To
but
the-
the longer it is, then the staler it gets.
To the extent these are promotional lists as well, people in the interim who were not eligible because they did not have adequate time and grade
Right.
would now have become eligible, and they're sort of stymied. When does the, just for clarification again, highlight when the 2-year list starts, because we've had a lot of litigation on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, there was a lot of lawsuit on
I
that.
have
So,
a follow-up, okay.
So the 2-year list starts immediately after the completion of the 30-day review period. So as you'll note in our current charter and even in this here, after the examination process, the charter allows for competitors of that exam to review their examination scores, results, have it full, transparent, where did I do wrong, what did I get wrong, and how, and then, so after that during that 30-day period, I establish or post a list, and I can't promote from it at all, and then the 2 years starts immediately at the commencement of that unless there's a massive appeal and the commission has to navigate that, but 2 years from that date.
All right, and the only reason I brought that up, if I'm number, I don't know, let's say I took the fire exam, and I'm the number 100 person on this, I passed, I went through, I did everything I'm supposed to do. 2 years come up, I'm still on the list, still wanna be a fireman, but we reached that 2-year period, we've gotta start all over again. That's, to me, that's not fair to the person who put the time in, passed, did everything they were supposed to do. Now, help me if I'm right, I could be wrong.
Hold on, before you answer that, you're number 100?
Let's say, I don't know how many people took the fire exam.
Say,
No, but if you're
say
number
600.
100, that means 99 people were better than you,
But
or
I'm-
scored better than you.
But what I'm saying is, I'm still on the list that if more people resign or retire, I move up, is that correct?
So, so people do say, I'm no longer interested, I don't want this anymore, and so we go down. I mean, a fire list can be 500-600 people deep, and to your point, should we keep the life of the list longer just to get to number 599?
No.
I mean,
No.
But, okay, I'm not gonna be that horse. If I took a test,
yeah.
and I went through the rigorous part of it, passing everything, and I'm on the waiting list, you telling me that I may not wanna do it now, but I wanna be a fireman. I did everything that was required. 2 years passed, I didn't get picked, because maybe we didn't lay people, maybe people didn't retire for whatever reason. To make that person go back through that again, I just think that's something.
Yeah, but we all can't be winners. If you wanted that position, you should have tested higher, you should have ran faster, right?
Well,
We
no,
can't-
what they
we-
should
we-
do
We
then-
can't
no,
just say you
what they
scored
should do-
100.
No, what they should
right?
do is this. If you don't finish within the, listen, what we should say, if you don't finish within the top 25 or 30, whatever you wanna put it, your chance of becoming a fireman, because I just think it's unfair.
So, to the chair, I can say that from my experience, before being the personnel director and even like now, police were eating through an entire 200-person list. There is no list after 6 months, and we're re-triggering that. For fire, that's very attractive, and that list can be a 500-600 person list, but we get through a lot of every list. But I just wanna clarify too, that when you get on the list, you have taken for fire the written exam.
Right.
That's what you've done. And then for police, it's a written exam and then an oral interview required by state statute. None of the polygraph, OIA background, drug screens, medical examinations have been given to you. You haven't gone through those rigors yet because we haven't gotten to you. And I have had candidates that may have scored on the fire list number 500, and and then come next exam, they've scored in the top 10. That happens a lot. And so, it's like the SATs. I mean, you like take them once and you get this way, but they like let you take again.
All right, I'm through with it. I'm through with it. I just wanted to bring it up. Go ahead. I don't agree.
I also wanted to add to that, to Eric's point and say that a lot of individuals that when they first get on, they'll end up losing their credentials as time goes on with, some of the skills that they may have taken training for. And I'll use myself as an example. I went to Lusitanic in 1990. I did a year and a half of nursing school. I can't go there now and do what I did in 1990. It's not gonna look the same to me. So it's the same thing with, with the list, and sometimes the position may not be available at that particular moment. They may have, everything relates back to the union.
Yeah.
The union contracts, when we talk about fire, police, and other, union contracts that we have with the city. So some of the stuff that we need to focus on and the charter will equal to some of it is when we have these contracts that come before us is have the contract and have the charter. So we could try to equal both.
All right, keep singing.
So I've kind of highlighted what were those substantive changes. There weren't many. Again, it was just clarification of what, and as Mark opened with today, what we've always understood as the intent of our charter, and we've just now explicitly stated that. It's a big cleanup, and again, I thank this city attorney's office, I thank this council, I thank the charter commission. We did a lot of work here, and I think that you have, again, I don't want to say anything's perfect because nothing is, but this is a lot more progressive, modern, and better than what we currently have.
I agree.
Modern is the key word.
I agree. All right, can we?
So we're comfortable with 17, presentation of the marijuana?
Yeah.
Through the chair. That's when Attorney Pace was talking about the provision in chapter 7, which allows the council to vote on appointees. I thought we were gonna talk about different ones.
Yeah, you have positions in mind?
Yes.
Which ones?
Director of Planning and Economic Development.
Oh, I was gonna ask, but I didn't wanna throw my colleagues under the bus. I really did. But I was gonna ask. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, so which one? Let's just go through all of them. It's not fair to single out any particular. So, okay,
What page are you on?
60.
All right, let's go through.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Fred.
I did planning, the Director of Planning Economic Development. And public, yeah, I did public facilities and Director of Policy and Management. I did them 3.
Those 3. 60 and 61.
Okay.
Yeah, we can start with those
So the
two.
Director of Public Facilities, the Director of Planning and Economic Development, and the Director of Policy Management should be subject to council approval. Is that what you're saying, Councilman?
Yes, I am.
I agree with you.
City attorney had already said she put it in there for the city attorney.
Yes, in chapter 7.
Yes, in chapter 7, so city attorney's gonna include that because she's already given the
I would add, parks, again, my thinking is, someone who's public facing, to add parks as well. I'm actually gonna pump the brakes on, OPM because that's a very specialized position, and you need quite a bit of qualification to get there. It's not really public facing, but, that's my opinion.
How about
Yeah.
let me just ask the question.
OPM? I'm talking budget.
I think so.
Maybe we should put help in there?
No, I
No,
don't
you
think you
can't.
can. No, you already
Yes.
participate.
Stakes,
It's
yeah.
already covered by
You-
this.
That's
And you
covered by
already
state. We're already there.
participate, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, you said the Director of Parks covers?
Correct.
11.
We don't really have a Director of Parks.
Well, it's folded into the responsibilities of one person right now.
Yes. Fred,
Yeah, Scott, you were saying, what were you saying again? Which one did you kind of disagree with?
number 5?
Through chair number 5, the policy and management position.
I mean, the reason why I said that is because even though if we vote on it and the qualifications of anybody that's there, naturally, they're gonna have qualifications to come in anyway. It's not that there's gonna be a person that's gonna apply for that position that we're not gonna screen. You know, it's that, to see about the qualifications. I might not understand all the qualifications, but I'm quite sure some of us will. And I just think that we should, that shouldn't just be shooing.
Walk in.
Yeah, I don't think so. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I've been on the council just a short period of time, and there's a lot of things that happen that I think through Office of Policy and Management, as well as planning and economic development, that should be questioned. A lot of times, we're trying to get them to come to budget meetings, they don't come.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And by this way, there should be something that we can have some teeth on.
That's right.
To clarify the process, is it your intent or vision that this will be treated similar to the state mandate for that director of health, which is the mayor nominates and the council approves?
Yes.
So the mayor would do the screening, that anybody that comes to you as his nominee is already gonna be qualified.
Right.
And you would
Right,
just
okay.
be doing an interview and, you know, making sure you're comfortable with
Correct.
the person.
That's all.
So that I can understand this, you selected, well, I don't want to say, but three items were selected, right?
4.
Four.
Oh,
You got 5.
3, 4.
Well, one's already done.
5.
Yeah.
Scott Burns said 11.
so the mayor appoints,
Yes.
and what are you looking for, Fred?
Our approval, and when the mayor appoints, they come to us to vote on, right? To the council to vote
Do they?
on. That's what, not now,
Not
that's what we're
Not
saying.
now.
But that's what we're saying.
So that's what you're saying now?
Yeah, yeah.
The mayor appoints.
No, the mayor does appoint now.
Okay.
We confirm.
Right, so, again, I want to be the director of planning and economic,
Right.
right? So then what happens?
The mayor appoints a person,
Mhm,
And then
we
we would confirm
ratify
it.
we ratify his appointment.
okay. So how do we know that the mayor is going to adhere to what
Because-
our
Because we're
request?
changing the charter that mandates it must be ratified by the city council.
And I think our approach is saying, now the mayor really has to talk to us and say, hey, councilman this, councilman that. I'm thinking about appointing this person to this job. And now discussion is had. Whereas now,
He just does.
one day, this guy's in the job, next day another job's in the job.
And I would assume, right, that this person that the mayor appoints has all the qualifications?
Yeah.
And if that
Right,
person
right.
doesn't.
We
have
will
the
assume,
qualifications-
but I can't confirm.
Right,
Right. That's right, we'll assume, but when we meet with him, one-on-one, we'll find that out. If he's the right choice, has a vision for the city, what's his plans, we don't know that stuff now.
Is he a cancer, Virgo?
he's got cancer? You gonna find that?
No, he's talking about something else. Oh, okay.
Are you all set? Mike?
Yeah.
John Lee?
Yes, what we've got,
You chaired the meeting, cause I didn't know you was co-chair of ordinance.
Oh,
You,
I didn't say nothing.
oh, you
What
brought
did I
that
say?
meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I didn't say nothing.
Just so you know, the way the
I
health
didn't say nothing.
director statute reads,
I'm gonna get you, Nita, I swear.
it says the mayor or chief executive of each town, blah, 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 shall nominate such person to be director of health. Now, there's an interim step here where the commissioner has to approve that. But then it says, upon approval of the Commissioner of Public Health, such nomination shall be confirmed or rejected by the Board of Selectmen, or in your case, City Council.
Thank you, Dr. John Lee.
thank you
So
for
we
being
can't-
recognized, through the chair. As a member of the commission, I have total 99% respect for both the civil service and the city attorney for the work they've done on this. It's eliminated, it's simplified, it eliminated 5 pages, it's simplified, it's directed. Taking care of 20th century language, thinking. And we're coming up to the 21st century. And it's not, but I'm thinking about what, and the question I'm asking of you, because you're in a position of approving, which I'm happy with, but what's your thinking if a new mayor or an existing mayor comes up with an idea on youth, on energy, on housing, to have a broad-scale department that's necessary to serve the needs of the citizens. And he does that, I'm assuming, by ordinance or by his power to appoint people. But how does that get ratified before another charter comes in? And what position is their leader in, or department head, or whatever, in relative to this language that's here now? I'm just curious. Thank you.
Yeah,
So through the chair, I'll bring to your attention, section 208, creations of positions in classified or unclassified service. We have anticipated that. I think that's an amazing point, and I completely agree, which is why we added it to here, where a position now can be created in the unclassified service with, again, the approval of our city council.
what page are you on there?
63.
Yeah, my pages are, sorry, section 208.
63.
Creation of positions in classified and unclassified service. So our charter right now already has provisions of how to create a classified position, but it doesn't how to create a unclassified position, where if we're in the 21st century and beyond, there is a mayor that wants to create a department that tackles everything that we said in the hypothetical here, there was a mechanism with checks and balances to be able to do so.
We're all caught up. You good with that, Mr. Lewis?
Thank you. I see that here, and but I also, I didn't know whether, no discussion of that was made today, and very little discussion was when we were previously there. And so, with as many council members as are here today, looking at this section, I think it anticipates the needs, and that's what we should have in a document like the charter. Thank you.
Through the chair, just to reiterate what Eric said, and I think what you now understand is, in the old charter, it said every current charter, every hereinafter created position will be in the competitive division of the classified service. There was no mechanism to do what we're looking to do. And that was, we recognized the need, because, for instance, that's why you've got positions like CAO, Chief of Staff, others that don't appear in the charter and ought to be clearly in the unclassified because they're key top-level executives.
Right.
So that's a great change. And we've had courts that have ruled and said, nope, that person's in the classified division. Even if you didn't do it right through civil service, I'm reading the charter and that trumps everything.
Everyone's caught up now?
Yep.
Let's see, Eric, I'm sorry, Scott, perhaps? Okay. What
Just,
page are you on?
yeah, so go back to 60 and 61 in terms of potential ratification of certain points, positions. I mean, if we're gonna include OPM, which is essentially the budget office, then I think you also have to do finance, because
They go hand in hand?
they're, you know, two sides of
That's
the
fair.
budget.
You just needed to wait.
But again, these are kind of nerdy, wonky positions that, you know, I don't know. That's, I
Are you
could
saying
go either way.
nerds can't take the heat and make confirms?
No, I've seen them take it.
It's
but-
not public facing, which is,
Yeah.
I think, what was the original.
That was
intent.
my suggestion.
Right.
Do you wanna keep them sort of,
I think they either have to both be in or both be out, I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, I'm fine with just doing public facilities and OPEB and and parks. And if you wanna leave the budget guys out, that's fine.
It doesn't matter to me, I just,
But it does matter to you, because you're sitting there.
well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, we shouldn't have OPM and not finance.
I get you.
So,
They go hand in hand.
whatever the committee decides,
What's the general consensus among council people?
you're the chair.
Job, explain to me why finance should be involved in the finance director. Again, I'm not understanding why we have to include the finance director.
Because he or she works hand in hand with the budget. The money people.
Ding, 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 ding.
Finance,
Yeah, I
numbers,
understand.
budget.
Fine, put him or her in there, because you never know who you're gonna have, so.
So you're saying you want both of them subject to
Put it-
council
let's make it-
approval?
yeah, let's make it-
What say you, Councilman
Fine, fine by me.
Councilman Dodson?
So you're looking to do what?
Add him.
I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay.
Tell me what you're trying to add.
So,
Well, just to reiterate, and it's your call, you guys vote whatever you want, but when you look to rationalize, justify, explain why you're doing this, those two positions are not public-facing positions. They're more technical. And, you know, when you deal with the mayor on whatever negotiations go on in this whole thing, the question is, are you looking to weigh in on those items, as you said earlier, that deal with the public and impact your service, or are you looking to essentially become a check and balance for all the key positions the mayor does? It's your call, you do what you want, but as Scott said, if you're gonna do one, you probably should do both. The question is, do you wanna do either because they're not public facing?
I'm fine with taking them, keeping them out of the process.
Yeah, cause I can understand. How many people on here know anything about finances? Public facilities or whatever that.
I do.
I do.
I mean, it's my bills every
Yeah, I
month.
know.
I just don't see the purpose of having it, because the
And that's your
technical,
prerogative, yeah. I mean, they're all technical. Fred, how do you?
My thing, for
You
me
wanna
bringing
hear
it,
me?
but for me
You wanna
bringing
hear
it
me?
up,
What did you say?
I asked a question.
What was the question?
Never mind, I forgot.
for me naming the three that I named is really just about, like Mark was saying, it's about the checks and balances. But sometimes some things that I read and I question, and it's just to bring them in as council people to checks and balances. That's what I was doing for. Because sometimes things just go through, then later on, I'm asking questions, why did this happen? Who approved this, why did it go through? And us being a legislative body,
Last people to know.
you know what I mean, whether it goes through or not, there's questions that I might have to ask the person, that's all.
And I think that's where the sentiment's coming from. Right.
Yeah,
Coming to a council meeting and seeing this guy sitting there in this capacity that you've never seen before.
that's right. And he's gonna be in charge of our finances, which is a budget of 600 million or whatever the case may be. I wanna know something about it.
That's fair.
That's it.
That is fair.
Good job, Fred.
Good job, Fred.
That's all right, so I'm putting it back. I figured
Yes.
I'm putting it back.
That's why you make all the big money, baby.
All right, Ed, can you finish out?
Okay,
I think, through the chair, I completed going through what, I wanted to bring to your attention. And I think, we've all done collectively a very good job, and I, applaud our commissioners and our council, for taking on this endeavor. Ever since I got here, it's been, we need to do charter revision, we need to do charter revision, and we're finally doing it. So I applaud you all. Thank
I
you.
applaud you and the
yeah,
official.
very good job.
I'm
Very
gonna
good
say
job.
chapter 17 was one of the reasons why we wanted to do charter
Right.
revision.
Yeah.
That's
To
right,
update the language, we were tired of having a former mayor take our money all the time
that's right.
in litigation. Anyone have questions, comments, concerns?
No, you did a good job.
On that.
Just also, I think through the chair, I think Attorney Matola was a key player here too.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
The one-
Yeah, no, he's away, but,
Attorney Mottola.
Tell him we said he did a good job.
yeah, no, he has done a whole lot with this as
He
well.
did a good job.
Have you read?
I just made juicy.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Absolutely.
Can I get a motion for adjournment?
So
Can I
moved.
get a second? All in favor?
Ah.
Opposed?
You did a great job.
11:36. 6th.
We're getting eyes from the peanut gallery over
You
here.
know, the breakfast, you
No,
can't eat
I'm
breakfast.
going back home to do, like, I have my granddaughter, she got the mess in that house.